Hello and welcome to Rich Rides. So this time I'm just going to show you how to upgrade your brakes on a Voge 300 Rally. So these are the front brake pads, the EBC sintered pads, and the model numbers there. So the FA2142HH. So you can see I've taken those pads out before, but it's really simple and quick to do. So I'll just walk you through it. So first thing you need to do, rather than faff around trying to mess around, it's easiest to take the caliper off. To take the caliper off, it's just three 10mm bolts. The first thing is the ABS sensor, so just loosen that. Then your bottom mounts and your top mount. Just undo those, and that's that one. Undo the ABS sensor, which is quite long, and then your bottom caliper mount. And then if you just support it before it is fully free, then that should just come off. Pull your ABS sensor out, that just sort of pushes in, and then you can see that bolts in. But that's now free. The next thing to do, you just want an Allen key for the things that go through the slider, and these two are actually just covers. So if we undo that, see that's now loose, don't drop it. And same with the other one. Oh, you know, I said don't drop it. And it's there. So that's those two out, and then you can see underneath you've got the same size Allen key. So again, I just tend to break things off like that first. In fact, that feels fairly stiff, so what you find is, top tip, if you push the pads down while you do this, it releases the pressure and it's lots easier to do. It says the rubber gloves are getting stuck together because these are actually quite long, and you'll feel it release there. So that's your top one, then your bottom one, and again the same trick. It's stiff if you do that, but if you push down on the pads it releases the pressure and it's a lot easier to do. Quite long are these. And that one is free. So now your pads should come out, and you'll see that the inner pad sort of tucks under, and your outer pad hooks on here. Also remind yourself when you're taking them out which direction they go on, so the pins are at the bottom, so like that. So I always, when I'm putting them down, I put them down the way they came out, if that makes sense. So that's those out. Then you grab your new pads and put those in, but what you'll probably need to do is push the pistons back, and they don't want to budge so much. So if you release the pressure at the top, I'll show you how to do that. Don't let that just hang on there. Handily, you can just put it on there. So next, like I say, we want to release the pressure of your master cylinder. You don't want to get brake fluid anywhere, so I always put a rag around, and then that's just two screws. That's those undone. and then that should just, well, they're not fully undone. There they are. So that lifts off. Again, carefully that you don't drop brake fluid anywhere, and then the seal as well, and again that goes on a certain way. So what I tend to do is try put those there, and I'll just leave that there. So now we've released, whoops, that rubber as well, so that you can, there we go. So now you can see, you may have to, depending how worn your old pads are, you may have to take some of that out, so don't let it go sort of any higher than it is. Now, if we come back down here, you'll find that it's easier to push the pistons back. So see, now they're pushing in like that, so I tend to push them all the way so they're sort of against the edge, so you've got your maximum sort of space, because like I say, when you put new pads in, they've got more meat on them, they're thicker, so it's harder to get them on the disc if you don't push them all the way back. And it's way easier to do it now than when you're trying to force it onto the disc when everything's put back together. So if I just show you back at the top that I've pushed those pistons back, so that level has now gone up, as you can see, so that's fine. What I'll actually do is I'll put this back together now, because we don't need to faff with this anymore. I'm always paranoid about brake fluid leaking onto paintwork, etc. So let me screw those in. So I'll tighten it fully until the other one's up. That's that. Give that a wipe around there again, make sure that nothing comes out. Right, so happy with that. So now it's just a case of getting this back. So if we grab this again and get our new ones, like I say, the way they go in, that hook's in there, you need to make sure they're fully down, which we can sort of see there. And then the same with this one, that we get that in. There we go. So they're in fully. Then we just need to get the slider pins, and a bit like the trick of when you were pulling them out, you need to push these down to get it through the hole. That makes sense. There, you've heard that click through, and again just start that at least so it's all the way through. Get the other slider pin. Similar situation with that. You could probably see it better with this. If I push that down, then see it went straight in, and same with that one. If I push it, then it clicks straight in. And then keep the pressure on those as I put that in, and it's straight in there nicely. Let's get these in. Right, that's fully in. Like I say, they're quite long are these. And just, don't need much, but just nip those up. Put those in, and all we've got to do is get it over the disc. So just make sure that you've sort of pushed these pad as far back as it will go, and that gap's big enough. Then you can straight over like that. And all we've got to do now is put the mounting bolts, well, in fact, it's not just the mounting bolts because we've got those covers to put on, but put the mounting bolts, just make sure it's in the right place obviously. So that's those on. And again, that just pushes in the hole, does your ABS sensor, and then that bolt in as well. Then we just want to tighten these up. So this one's quite long, so it's easier to just do it like this. Oops. Right, that's those. And then your final bit, those covers. That's in. Second cover. Very easy to do it like that. What's that in? Just nip those up. I think they're just to stop rubbish getting into the actual ones. Yeah, and that's it. We're done. So the only thing you need to do is make sure that you get some pedal, because when you do it there's no feel whatsoever, and you can feel now it's gone hard as those pads have nipped up. If we just roll forward, we have brakes again, and that's it, as easy as that. So really quick and easy to do. I have actually ridden with these pads before and they do make a difference. At first when they're not bedded in they feel similar, but after a few miles they get better and better. So yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching.